Hi, YouTube. Hello. This is an impromptu live. I didn't tell anyone in my audience I was going live. I did not schedule this, so I don't even know if anyone's going to hop on live with me, but I wanted to just record this so that the recording will be here for you all. But I have some stuff I want to share with you. I want to talk about how we can alchemize what's going on in the world, especially for me personally in the US where I live, um, and how we can alchemize that into world-changing wealth. So um, I will say that I have spoken a lot more about maybe my political views, about what's going on in the world, what's been happening over the last, especially last year, but ever since honestly 2020. I've done this a lot more over on my Instagram. And I realize, oh, hey, Biz. Oh my gosh, good to see you. And welcome to my impromptu live stream. I have spoken so much more about these sorts of things over on my YouTube page. Oh my gosh, 11 of you just hopped on. Hello, welcome to my impromptu live stream, everyone. I was just starting and saying that this was completely unplanned. But I want to, first of all, just let you know that if you want to see more of me speaking about this stuff, if you want to be connected on these issues, but also you just want to see more of my day-to-day life, like I share that in my Instagram stories frequently. And I realize I never talk about that here on YouTube, even though this is like my main platform. So I've made sure to put in the description my Instagram link. And so you guys can come follow me over there if you want to connect with me in my Instagram stories. I know some of you, even on this live stream that are popping on, we're connected on Instagram. We get to chat in the DMs and stuff. And so feel free to come follow me over there if you want to see more of, my day-to-day life, but more me when I do talk about this stuff, when I share my opinions and especially how this relates to money, but also just my point of view and my perspective, like that's where I do it. It's the easiest platform for me to do it on, where I can easily reshare posts about what's going on in the world, amplify voices, spread awareness. It's a little bit harder for me to do that just with the way YouTube is set up here. So if you want to be connected there, go follow me over on Instagram it's at Taylor Eaton Coaching is my handle, but I put that in the description box. Hello, everyone. Oh my gosh, so many of you jumping on. It's so good to see you. So I wanted to first just put that out there. Just come hang out with me on Instagram if you feel called. Second, though, is that I love being able to share more of these impromptu thoughts, and not just about world events, but just when I'm inspired. And I'm finding that I feel more and more pulled to do more of these spontaneous live streams here on YouTube. So if you aren't already getting notifications whenever I have a new post or anything go up, like please turn on notifications if you want to get notified of these live streams, because I love getting to chat with you all in the comments. Like I'm seeing Annie and Heartlip Kara, Emily. Oh, it's good to see you, Emily. Yeah, so just, like you are welcome. I'm noticing so many of your comments, your usernames from the comments section. Hi, Jazzy. So, make sure you have notifications turned on, because I do plan on doing more live streams when I feel inspired. And today I'm inspired. So here we are. So as the title suggests here, and what I want to talk about today is a little bit about, hi Priya, a little bit about world events right now, a little bit about where I stand, but also just I want to really then take it through the lens of how you can alchemize what's going on in the world right now into world-changing wealth, into creating more wealth for yourself so that you have the ability to impact more change in the world for the better. And I think this is really needed at this time. Clearly, there is so much conflict in the world. There's so much suffering. There's so much struggling. There's so much cruelty in the world right now. And I do believe that part of what I'm here to do, basically everything of what I do on this channel, with all of my Oracle decks, with the book I'm writing, with my membership, with my high-level mentorship, everything I do is here to help change the money paradigm in the world, to bring forward a new money paradigm where we are no longer outsourcing our power to money. We're no longer chasing it, but instead we're learning how to master creating wealth from the inside out in a very empowered way. So that's always the intention behind everything I do, because I firmly believe that when more and more individuals feel empowered around money rather than enslaved by it, rather than powerless against it, then the more wealth you can create as an individual. And the more individuals we have who are creating greater wealth from an empowered place, then the more good they can do with that wealth. The more we can change policy, the more we can save our environment, the more we can give to causes that are doing good work, the more we can fight diseases, the more that we can support one another, the more that we can build community, that we can build affordable homes, the more we can care for our collective. It's like money is such an integral part of our world, but so many of us are operating with this paradigm that's been widely taught to us for centuries, millennia, that disempowers us. And we're at a tipping point where that has to shift. And so that's what is behind all of my work, is that we need to empower the individual, because there are systemic changes that need to happen. There are systemic injustices always around money. Those things are very real. But what I know is that for me, what I can do is work with individuals. I'm very good at working with individuals. Each one of you who watches my wealth activation readings, who listens to the subliminals, who even reads the affirmations in them, the people who come into my Wealth Vibe membership, the people I work with at a high level of mentorship, like high level entrepreneurs and trailblazers, it's like the more I can work and reach with individuals and help you master creating wealth in an empowered way, then the more of you will be able to create more wealth and then change the world for the better, rather than have our whole world structure and our systems created by just a handful of people who have hoarded the world's wealth and continue to do so. And then they create policy for everyone that just extracts more capital from everyone. That's my perspective on it. And so I really feel like the new money paradigm, yes, there are policy changes that need to happen. There are systemic changes that need to happen in the world. We're seeing the injustices played out around the world right now of people who have way too much power and people who cannot combat them because money is the lever that allows them to have more and more power over the world. And I do believe that this is not the only piece, but a huge piece of what is going to shift the world for the better, is every single one of us becoming more empowered around wealth, knowing how to create it from an empowered place, from the inside out, from our mindset, our energy, and our aligned actions, to then create the change we need to see in the world collectively and shift the whole collective money paradigm. So because that's behind everything that I do feel like I cannot be quiet about world events. And I haven't been. Those of you who've been in my audience for a while know that I've put posts up here on YouTube. I have done, I've even had a couple reels go up here or shorts here on YouTube. I put up a reel or two on Instagram. In my Instagram stories, constantly, resharing, posting my point of view on these issues. It's like, I do not stay silent. And I continually, every time I speak up, I lose followers. It doesn't matter to me. I get people who want to debate me and throw hate my way. I don't care. My stance is not up for debate. Because I'm always looking for not necessarily political party lines, but what I'm looking for is who is uplifting people, who is protecting people's rights, and who is trying to harm people and take those rights away. That's what I'm looking at. And sometimes that's on one side of the aisle, sometimes it's on the other, but that's my stance. And what is happening right now, all over it's not just in the US, but I'm US based, so it's what I can speak to the best. But what is happening across the world, but especially what I am seeing in Minnesota and Minneapolis right now, is wrong. It is heartbreaking. I have stood firmly against it from day one, and I will continue to do so. But what I'm finding is that so many people, and I've been having these conversations with high-level clients of mine, like private clients who have been messaging this week or in last week and through the weekend, through people in my Infinity Matrix mentorship, my group mentorship space, through a chat I was having with a mastermind I'm a participant in with some of the other participants in it who are very high-powered entrepreneurs. And what I'm finding is that there's a lot of people who are saying, how can I continue to run my business? How can I continue to work? How can I continue to do what I do and not let this weigh me down? Because what I'm seeing is it's atrocious. It's heartbreaking. It's painful. It's wrong. It's like, and I'm, especially I work with a lot of people who are empathic, who are sensitive to others' energies. And it's like, how can you see atrocities? How can you see injustices in the world and then just go about your life like everything's normal? Go about your business posting pretty Instagram reels and things, and all the while feeling like you want to say something or you want to do something, but it doesn't fit with your brand, or you don't know how beneficial it would be, or it's like, how do you do this, right? Hi Kendall, good to see you here. And I want to share with you all that a couple points that I found really helpful for some of the other people I was chatting with about this, what's helped me with this, and how we can really alchemize the heaviness and the injustice of what we're seeing to create more world changing wealth, to empower ourselves so that we can actually affect more of the change we want to see. Now, I want to make a quick note that this does not at all mean that you shouldn't get involved locally with your communities or donate to causes that are fighting the good fight. It's like, this isn't to say any of that, because I think that's all very important, but just from a business perspective, from a human perspective, from a I have to work and make money perspective, it's like, how do you do all that while holding everything that's going on in the world and make sure that you're not just being stuck in your tracks or like frozen in place, right? And so that's what I really want to speak to in this live stream. But I will also urge you to share, like to speak out if you feel called to speak out, to amplify voices on social media. It's like one of the things I even told, some people in one of the mastermind I'm a participant in, we were chatting. Someone there said, I want to speak about this stuff, but it's not my brand. It doesn't make sense. I know a lot of people won't have the same opinion. And I said, you have to do what's right for you, what feels correct for you. But if you feel called to say something, to speak out, whatever that is, it's like you can do that and know that it won't be a complete waste, because even if it just makes one person feel less alone, less isolated, that's important. And I can't tell you guys how many times I've shared here on YouTube, or I've shared, especially in my Instagram stories, my perspective, what I stand for, and how many times I've received, of course, people saying that I'm wrong, people saying they're unsubscribing, fine, go. But also for every person who says that, I get at least 10 people in my inbox saying, thank you so much for saying something. I felt like I was going crazy watching all the other readers on my channel or all the other spiritual entrepreneurs say nothing. I felt like I'm living in an alternate reality, or that they don't care, that they don't see what's going on. And how many of you have, excuse me, I'm coming down with a cold, so my voice is going right now. But how many of you have reached out to me and said thank you, and I don't feel so alone? And then from there, some of you have even followed up and said, like, I went to a protest, I did this, I donated here, I spoke to my family so that they're more educated. It's like, you make a ripple when you follow what you feel called to do. And so if you're doubting whether you can have an impact, no matter how big or small your platform is, it's important for you to share your voice. Your voice matters, and it has more of an impact than you think. And oftentimes you won't always even see the impact that it has, right? You won't even know the full impact. Like, I know there are so many people that I've touched, that my clients have touched, that you have touched, that they don't necessarily say something, but it mattered to them. It made them feel less alone. It made them realize they're not alone. It made them realize that they're not crazy, that they're not, it's like it matters. You matter. And so this is important for you to understand. And that this is, again, it's like the more and more of us who share our truths, right? And this doesn't have to be hateful. It doesn't have to be angry rhetoric. It can just be, I even saw, like, we got to lean into love. It's like, you can share that, you can say that, but it's like not saying anything, especially if it's making you feel isolated, to not say anything means that we're all becoming more isolated. And so if you feel called to say something, say something. Your voice matters, and it matters more than you think and more than you'll ever know. So that's just the first general thing that I want to share, whether that's on social media or elsewhere, right? Yeah, I rarely get interactions on my YouTube channel and try not to feel down about it. And this is the thing, just also in business in general, even when this isn't about world events or standing up for what you believe in, even sometimes when we're posting online and we don't feel like we're getting a lot of engagement, we have to make that mean that our voices don't matter, or we don't have influence. It's just that you're not seeing it yet. You're not seeing the evidence of it, right? So just remember that, like, often the impact you will have will be so much greater than you ever realize it in your entire life. Like, I'm fully aware that I will probably breathe my last breath whenever the end of my life is, and not have ever known the full impact of my work, of my existence. And that's fine. That's like, we can't know it. We can't know, because we're all interconnected. We're all influencing each other, influencing the whole global community. Oh my gosh, thank you, Grace. Thank you so much. So just know that, right? So you matter, and you're not alone. And the more you realize you're not alone, and the more you say things, the more you make other people realize they're not alone. And that's so important. That's important, because especially with what's going on, we need each other. We need to know that we are connected, that we are on the same page, that we are standing up for what we believe is correct. So beyond that, though, I want to say, when we talk about navigating business, a really famous spirit guide, that's so exciting. When we know that we have a business to run, or we need to go to work, or we want to make a difference in the world, but we're like, it is so heavy, and what can I do? And oh my gosh, you are so welcome, Grace. Thank you for being here. When we think these thoughts, it's like, it is so important to understand that what you can do at this time, and again, this is not to replace getting involved locally or taking practical actions in the offline world or in the out of business world, but what you can do in your business, in your career, especially if you have a big mission that you're like, I'm here to change the world. I want to see the world change. I want world changing wealth in my hands. It's like, if that is where you're at, but you're kind of almost frozen because you're like, how can I create? How can I show up? How can I innovate? How can I grow? How can I talk about other things when I keep looking at the news, or I keep looking at posts online, or I keep just thinking about and feeling into the pain, the injustice, the fear? It's like that. If that's where you are, then know that you are in such a fertile place to quantum leap your impact in the world. You are in a very potent position to be able to quantum leap your wealth, to step into new levels of wealth. And the reason for this is because you can use all the fear, all the pain, all the injustice, all the anger, all the grief, all the sadness, all the desire for change that's bubbling up within you. You can take that and use that to fuel your mission and fuel what you're doing in the world, and to make what you do stronger, to make what you do more impactful, to expand, to get out of your comfort zone, to reach more people, to have greater meaning behind what you do. And so I want to talk about just a little bit about what that looks like. And I'm going to use the example of how I do this, just to give you an example. And it'll look different for everyone because everyone has different missions in the world. Everyone is running different businesses or in different kinds of jobs or industries. But you have to remember that we're all connected, right? We're all connected. Everything is connected. Everything is connected. Everyone is connected in this world. We have, like I was just saying, we have ripple effects that we cannot know the way we impact the world. And what if you're just feeling numb right now? If you're just feeling numb right now, then you can either, it's like, and I want to say all this, whether it's you're feeling so enraged or so wanting to change things, or you're feeling numb, whatever end of the spectrum you're on, you got to take care of you first, right? Like you got to take care of you so that you can actually show up and affect change the best. So you do what you need to do. If you need to take time, you feel time. If you are feeling numb, I also think, even though this isn't where I'm going to go with the next part of this conversation, but what you can do is you can actually use your work, your business, your art, your hobbies, whatever it is, to bring yourself out of it, to start to feel something. You can start to do that to awaken whatever you need to feel. And sometimes we're feeling numb because we don't want to feel, we can't feel, our nervous system can't handle seeing what's going on. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's traumatic. It's a lot. But it's important we don't look away. And so sometimes we need to take a step back. Sometimes we need to take care of ourselves so we can continue to move forward. But also, sometimes what we can do is we can, part of stepping away is you can use your art, you can use your creativity, you can use your voice, you can use your platform, you can do it, in private for a while, but it's like you can do something to just help yourself get back in touch with how you're feeling, to move yourself through it so that you can really feel like, here's how I feel about what's going on in the world. Here's how I feel. Like, let yourself feel it, right? Sometimes it's hard to just let ourselves feel it. So sometimes we need to do things for ourselves, some self-care, some hobbies, some things, some art, whatever it is, and create in a way or move in a way through the world where then it allows us to start to feel and unlocks that. And we give ourselves space to feel it. And then when you feel it, then you can fuel yourself, your mission, world-changing wealth with it, right? Yeah, it shouldn't feel normal because it's not normal. I 100% agree. Yeah, it's okay to feel overwhelmed. It is overwhelming. Yep, you got to take care of your nervous system. You got to take care of you. The more we also, this is very true, the more we normalize what's going on, this is a very slippery slope. And I've talked about this in previous content. I have a reel from, it was probably like 6 months ago or more from last year, speaking about my ancestry. And I had, people, ancestors that were in 1930s, 40s Germany. I have Jewish ancestry. I have family members that went through that. And I see the patterns. I see things rhyming, right, throughout history. And this is how it happened, is people became more acclimatized to more and more atrocities and just normalizing. So we can't let it become the norm as well. So thank you for saying that. So when you're feeling overwhelmed, when you're feeling angry, when you're feeling this heaviness, when you're ready, right, take care of yourself, regulate your nervous system as you need to. But then you can move with this. You can move with the pain. You can move with the heaviness, the discomfort, the whatever you're feeling, and you can move with it. And what I do with this, so for me, I connect to my bigger mission. So think about, for you, what is your bigger mission? Like if you don't know what your bigger mission is, think about if you had all the money you could ever need and more, like so much money, millions, tens of millions, almost $1 billion. Like if you had so much money that you didn't even know what to do with it, like you couldn't spend it all in your lifetime with just what you currently buy. It's like, if you had that level of money, what good would you do with it in the world? What would you want to change first? And it's going to be different for everyone. I'd love to hear in the comments, what would you do with that kind of money? What would you do with an insane level of wealth? What would you do with it? Because for some of us, like for me, I would buy a lot. I've said this before. in some of my content, I would buy a lot of land in my area to preserve it, to create conservation efforts, to build affordable, sustainable homes on, like eco-friendly homes. That would be a big thing. I would fund more of the pet sanctuaries and animal sanctuaries that I already donate to regularly. It's like I would do, those are the top things. But for some people, it's like they would fund cancer research. For some people, they would influence politics directly, right? Yeah, stop human trafficking. That literally funds everything that happens. Help the victims heal, right? It's like, but we all have different things where we would flow the money, and this is why we all need to be empowered, not just a couple of us, because there's so many things that need fixing, there's so many things that need improving. So it's important for me to have money flowing through my hands so I can flow it into protecting the earth, protecting that, giving people places to live that aren't going to ruin the environment. And to help the animals. But then there's also some of you that need the money flowing through you to help victims, to help unhoused people, to help with research, sustainability. Yeah, showing up authentically. Yeah, having a safe place filled with so much love and community, creating love. Oh my gosh, Allie, it's so good to see you. I've been meaning to message you. I'm going to send you a message in Telegram after this. I've been thinking of you. Within health and wellness, but also just understanding human and spiritual bodies. Yeah, empowering more people. It's like, what would you be doing with that money? And so that's like, even if that's not your whole mission in life, that's part of it, right? That's what you would be doing with world changing wealth. So when you connect to that and you think of that, you realize how important it is for you to keep moving. You realize how important it is for you to do things, right? To take action at this point in time and to keep running your business, things like that. And then from there, it's important for you to say, like, how's what I'm doing right now not just relate to my overall mission, but how does it create so much wealth for me? How can I use it to create more wealth so that I can help attain this big vision and this change and impact real change in the world? How can I do that? Right? Like, and for me, everything that I do, like at times like this, when I'm feeling the grief, I'm holding that energy, I'm mad, I feel sometimes powerless with what's going on, I feel fear. It's like when I feel these things, I let myself feel them for a day or two, and then I say to myself, like, I can either stop right here and I can just unplug for a while. I have that luxury. It's a privilege and it's a luxury in my business to be able to be like, I just won't create content this week. I just won't do it. And I'll just tend to myself, and I'll, tend to the movements I can help and what I can try to do. Or I can really go deeper into myself and I can say, I'm going to use this as motivation because I see how much change is so needed in the world. And I can use this as motivation to create more, to also expand the depth of what I'm doing, to do things like this, like these sorts of live streams that I normally don't do and haven't done, but to come here and speak to you more candidly about all of this, and to maybe inspire more of you to show up more in your business or in the way that you're doing things so that you can impact more people or you can make more money, and then you can go create more world changing wealth. So this is so important to really lock into, like, what is the bigger vision? What am I capable of? Because I think the biggest trap, this is really the biggest thing, is that we think that we're not that capable of affecting change. And I saw a comment here that said, do you think we can change the system or just create hope within the system? And this is such a good question. And I actually spoke to this at the beginning of this live stream. So if you weren't here, like, once the replay is, ready, once this ends, go check that out. But I do think that we can change the system, but it has to start on individual levels. We need enough individuals changing in order to then tip the scales and shift into a new paradigm and into a new system. Like, it can't happen otherwise. And that also connects back to what I'm just saying here, is like, we often think that just me, I can't make a change. And that's not true. Like how I said earlier in this live stream, me just reposting, amplifying other people's voices, saying where I stand, helps certain people in my community not feel alone. And that's not just me. That's not something special to me. We all do that. Right? Yeah, perfect. So yeah, little changes make big changes over time. And I really feel like who knows how long it'll take to change the things that really need to be changed in the world. Who knows how hard of a path this is going to be? Who knows? But if we don't try and we don't do what we can do, then it will not change. It won't. And so when we have this, this sneaky thought, which sometimes it's not even a conscious thought, but we're just kind of like, I feel overwhelmed. I feel scared. I feel mad, but what can I do? What can I really do? It's like, that's when we often, underneath that is usually the belief of like, I don't matter that much. I'm not that powerful. You are so freaking powerful. You are so powerful. And when you can remember, I am so powerful, and I might not be able to change the entire political system in my country. I might not be able to change these huge movements that have been underway for decades. I may not be able to change those right now overnight with one single action, but what I can do is get so much more committed to showing up in my power, so much more committed to expanding what I'm doing, especially for those of you who are entrepreneurs. It's like, can you get even deeper? Like for me, like this year, I knew going into 2026, and I posted it on my YouTube posts and in my Instagram stories at the end of last year. But I said the vibe for 2026 is world-changing wealth. Like I was ready to start gearing up to start shifting to speak more about how, like, let's think bigger, not just I want to help you get wealthy because you all deserve to be wealthy. I'm more like, how can we create more incredibly wealthy people so that we can change the freaking world? Like, I knew that. And so I'm willing to shift my messaging. I'm willing to shift and expand what I speak about in my readings, what kind of readings I'm delivering to you. I'm willing to do live streams like this. Like I'm willing to expand and let my business be a vehicle for me to affect more change that I can pour and transmute all of my anger, my grief, my frustration into, so that I can impact more people, right? And you could do this your own way. And even people, I have people who, like, I have clients, private clients who are authors. I have private clients who are who create jewelry. I have private clients who do Reiki. I have private clients. And it's like I have all different sorts of a high level, really successful entrepreneurs who I mentor. And it's not just like I'm not like, go talk about world changing wealth, because that's not their platform. That's not their brand. That's not their mission. But at times like these, what they're doing is they're like, I want to talk more about feminine liberation. I want to empower more women because I really believe that we need less of the established patriarchy, more of a matriarchy to balance it out. Or some people are like, I believe we need to really speak about, like Allie's on here and she's like, we need to speak more about health and wellness and making that accessible to our communities. And so it's like, I need to go do that, because when you have more people in your community who are cared for, then of course, like, that changes different policy that ripples out into your communities. So it's like, it's really important for us to look at our own specific, like, whether businesses, or even if you're showing up in a job that you're like, this is making no impact at all. It's like, well, but how is you showing up with your coworkers? How is the way that you show up with the customers you interact with? How is that just sending small ripples into the world? How is that also you showing up and maybe creating things on the side, or just you showing up and doing the best you can there, if it's still an aligned fit for you to be in that position to, like, really make more money or save more money so you can flow it here, so you can do this with it. It's like, we all have such an impact and a role to play. So it's really, really important that we connect with our bigger image and also think bigger of, like, how can I, especially those of you who are entrepreneurs here who have the freedom to do this in your businesses, it's like, how can you expand what you're doing or deepen what you're doing or shift what you're doing in your own way that makes sense for you to help be a part of the change that you think you need to see in the world. Let your frustration, your anger, your grief, your burning desire for things to change, let that fuel you to innovate in your business. Let that fuel you to pivot your messaging. Let that fuel you to get out of your comfort zone. Let that fuel you to deepen into your work, to even master what you do even more, to create more of an artistry around it, whatever you feel is aligned. But it's like, let what is happening fuel a greater change within your own work, within the own ripple effects you have, and then in the world, right? So that's where the alchemy is. It's like, know that also, in a way, you always hear, like, that art is incredibly important at times of a lot of unrest in the world, which I agree with. But also, art isn't just painting. It's not just writing. If those are your forms of art, then great. But, like, especially if you're an entrepreneur, I really believe that business is an art form. And we have a lot of freedom to become artists and to allow ourselves to transmute whatever we're feeling, whatever the world is feeling, through our business. And so when you let your business be a vessel for something that is so much bigger than just making you money, but it's a vessel for creating impact, and it's a vessel for creating more wealth in your hands that's then going to change the world, it's like your mission becomes so much bigger. Your business starts to expand and pivot and deepen in ways you couldn't imagine. Like, I didn't think that 3 years ago I'd be sitting here talking about world-changing wealth. Like, it wasn't off the table, but it wasn't, like, front of mind for me. I was more focused on, like, the individual empowerment, which is still how I'm doing it, but it's like there wasn't that aspect to my messaging. That wasn't the aspect of like doing readings. I was just starting with readings. Then I think it was like that wasn't part of my angle, my lens, but now it is. Because as I expand and as my life experience expands and as I continue to engage with this world that we're all connected in, what I do continues to expand and pivot and evolve to be a representation of that, but also a conduit for everything, right? So, oh, it's your first time catching me live. Well, I'm rarely live and this was impromptu and I'm going to be doing more impromptu lives. So if you guys aren't already like have notifications turned on, turn them on because I've found that I've been wanting to do impromptu lives for months and I was getting in my own way because I kept going like, I should tell people in my Wealth Vibe membership, give all of you a heads up at least 30 minutes before. I should tell people on my Instagram I'm doing it so that people will join in. And I was like, then I didn't want to do it because I just in the moment wanted to go live. Like when I have the intuitive hit, I just want to do it. Otherwise I won't do it. And so I started realizing that and I was like, oh, well, just who cares if anyone shows up, the recording will be there. So I plan on doing more of this stuff just when I'm inspired. I think there'll probably be something else. I have something else I want to say this week, which is a very different conversation. So make sure you have notifications turned on if you want to come join me live. But yeah, art can be many things. Visual text entrepreneurship, saying this is a hobby artist, published author, and a small business entrepreneur. Yes, I love that. This is how I saw this. I was watching the other reading from this morning and your voice popped up with this one. Oh my God, I love that. Yeah, my mom used to say I'm not creative because I could only draw stick people. The last year I've really leaned into knowing, oh, as an entrepreneur is creativity. Yes, 100%. Yeah. The attitude about the national languages and access to both should definitely improve. Absolutely agree. And those of you who don't know, so my background is in linguistics. I love language. I think language is so fascinating. And that was my undergrad degree. It's what I went to graduate school for a little bit for. I love linguistics. And I really think that the more we know more languages, just even the neuroscience behind different languages and the way the brain functions when you speak different, it's fascinating. It's so interesting. And like, I think we all should be speaking more languages personally. But I agree that on a like political or cultural level, I do think that needs to shift as well. Yeah. I speak Mandarin, so every time you talk about it, I always forget you do, but when you told me that blew my mind. I remember you told me that a while ago, Allie. Yeah, thank you. I love linguistics. That's like a passion of mine. I love it so much. Okay, so I feel like that's about what I had to say to you all, but if there are questions, if you guys just want to share things, I can chat for just a little bit more before I have to run, but thank you for joining in live and those of you watching the replay. I'm so glad you were here, but it's like, I just want you to know you matter. You're not alone. Your voice is powerful. You're powerful. We can affect change. We can do it, especially when more of us are speaking up in the ways that feel aligned for us, but especially when you allow whatever you do in your life to expand, to deepen, to shift, to pivot so that it becomes a container, a conduit, a vessel for you to then allow more wealth into your life in a way that's going to help you then flow more wealth into changing the world for the better, right? So alchemize, and when you just feel that heaviness, the process I walk myself through is just I feel the heaviness, I feel the anger, I feel the frustrations. And yes, I go do things in my community. I do things with organizations. I do those real life practical external things. I amplify voices on my Instagram. But from a business perspective, I sit down and I go, what's going to allow me to make more of an impact today? If I see this change I want to make in the world and I'm here, we're here and I want us to all be here, what can I do today to get one step closer to that? Can I do this live stream? Can I put out an offer? Can I work with people who I know are going to change the world and help them make those changes and support them through the mentorship side of my business? What can I do? Right? So you're not powerless. It's about commanding that, right? Are you going to create a tribe to build more partnerships for world-changing projects? I would love to one day. I have so many things on my plate. I have considered this, and I think this will be something that as I have more capital, as my wealth expands, that I would love to partner with more people and have a community where we can almost fund things and become our own bank for creating world-changing wealth. I think that would be really, really fantastic. I don't feel like I'm ready at that point yet to lead that, but that could also be something that you're maybe here to lead, Grace, or to help co-create. I've also connected with, in one of the masterminds I'm in, some of the other that I'm a participant in, some of the other women and I have started chatting about how we can, people whose visions align with mine and who mine support theirs, whether it's around animals or around the environment, connecting with those people and starting to talk about how we can start to do some of these things together. And so that's we need more groups like that. We need more places like that. So that's not something that I'm opposed to doing. I don't feel like right now is the time for me to spearhead that with the other things that I am doing, but maybe for you, Grace. I love that though. Yeah, I channel that into my art and it becomes something beautiful that can then touch other people's lives. Yes. Yeah, I've listened to your 1 hour long. Well, subliminals of like good background sound for when I translate. I'm so glad. I love making the subliminals too. So, yeah, how do you sell to the people you want to help if they're in a marginalized groups and you feel are taking their money or they can't afford your work? So that's a really great conversation. I would say, I feel like that could be a whole nother live stream, honestly. Here's the thing. This is a different distinction, and this is something I feel like I've talked about in my Wealth Vibe or in my Infinity Matrix mentorship. But my approach to this is this. So I think that if you are selling to a marginalized community or you are selling to a community that is, I don't want to say, I don't believe anyone's disempowered, but if you are selling to them and it is with the intent to change things systemically or to support people in those environments, it's different on a case by case basis. So this is just a gross overgeneralization without knowing the details. But I believe in some ways it can potentially be unethical or immoral to charge really high rates or to accept a lot of money for those services. However, if what you are doing is you're like, I know that most people in this community could not afford this, but there are some people who could, and it's going to be actually beneficial for them to be paying more and be beneficial for me, then in those cases it's fair to charge those higher rates for those people. But my approach to it and to all the work I do, because I talk about wealth and I'm like, wealth should be available to everyone. What I teach should be available to everyone. I have different ways and different tiers that I do that at. So no matter what income level you're at, where you're at in your business, where you're at in your career, your income, there are different ways to tap into that wisdom, right? And oftentimes just the higher price points or just more proximity with me because that's limited. I can only have so many hours in a day that I can work with clients. And so I have to charge more for that kind of proximity and that kind of closeness. But I create so much free content here on YouTube and there's so much wisdom that comes through in the readings that I'm like, that it's free. It's free, right? So it's like there's free content. And if you're not on my email list, get on my email list. I don't have it in the description, but it's in any of my YouTube videos. It's like in the pinned comment. I share a lot of, available thing, a lot of things that are tips and insights for free in my email list, right? So there's free ways that I provide. And then, yeah, payment plans are also fantastic. I usually offer payment plans on bigger purchase things. But then also I have my Wealth Vibe membership, which is $25 a month. And you can come and go as you like. You can come for a month, you can leave, you can come back. I have people come and go all the time. It's like, and there's so much value in there. I feel like there's like 5 or 6 different things we do in there, like daily mini money readings for me, a monthly call where I'm doing like a live collective reading. There's a monthly challenge with different techniques for manifesting more wealth and doing all the things I do. It's like there's so many things there that each one of those things I feel like is worth the $25 a month. But it's like, so I know I could charge more, but it feels aligned for me. I was just saying this in Infinity Matrix today to my high level clients. I was like, it just feels correct for me to offer this to the masses so that it's available, right? It's accessible for a lot of people. But there are people who are like, I can't do $25 a month. So then there's the free YouTube content, right? But then in the Wealth Vibe, it's like that is so much insane value. People have told me they've like completely changed their financial reality from what we do in there. But it's $25 a month. Come and go anytime you want, right? So that's available. But then I have like, sometimes mid-range things. I have things that are like $111, $333, like passive one-off courses, things like that. From there, there's also my Infinity Matrix, which is currently $5,555 for the year, but you get so much personalized mentorship from me. And then from there, you get into the multiple 5-figure investments with private mentorship. But it's like, do you see how it's like, and I'll tell you like, and in my Oracle decks and my journals, which are like, $20, $25. And that's a physical tool, right? And my book that I'm writing right now, which will be coming out next year, which I haven't made an official announcement yet, but that'll come soon. But it's like all of these things are like lower cost things. And so I have a lot of ways. Like I'm like, I believe this should be permanent. So when you're thinking about it for a marginalized community, but you also know as a business you need to operate and create a lot of wealth, it might be about finding communities and niches outside of that as well. But I will say that creating different tiers, free, low cost, mid, high levels where people can work with you at different ranges and still access tons of wisdom and work with wherever they are, I think is so beneficial and so powerful. And it's also just, in my mind, it's really good business structure and strategy. But I think it also just comes from such a beautiful place of service because then it's like, no matter where you are in your journey, you can tap into that wisdom and work with it. So that's my guidance there. I find I need to first feel safe in my body, decondition and regulate my nervous system before I feel safe to be seen and launch my online business. Have you found how human design helps regulate our nervous system? So, for those of you who don't know, my business, when I first built it, you're welcome, Annie. Thank you for the question. I love that. Um, the first time when I first started my business, when I first started making six figures a year in my business, I was niched in the human design world. And I still use human design as a tool, but I unniched from it a few years ago. And but I was doing human design and money, human design and business. Like I was how to use your human design for money and business. And in the human design world, I personally have not really delved deep into how to use it for regulating your nervous system. I think that'd be really interesting. I didn't really look at human design through the lens of our physical aspects and our human bodies. I looked at it more through how do you use it in business? How do you use it to create strategy? How do you use it with money? How are you meant to manifest money? How are you motivated by money? How do you work with your own internal guidance and your own clarity? That's how I really looked at and still use human design. So I don't have a way to do that personally, but I would be curious to know if there's any practitioners out there who have found that. So I would do some searches for it. The ways I've found to regulate my nervous system are not necessarily tied to human design. What I love the most for regulating my nervous system is breath work. That is like hands down the biggest thing that I use for nervous system regulation around money, but also just in general with what's going on in the world. If you want breath work, there's a couple different practitioners I really like, but I have a practitioner in my Wealth Vibe community who she's done some events inside of the Wealth Vibe that the replays are in there. She's done, I believe, 2 breathwork sessions for us with abundance, which is really powerful. Her name's Adriana Barsaca, or Borska, and so that's in there. But also other modalities, whether it's money or not, or just what's going on in the world, or visibility, things like that. Grounding, a lot of grounding work, a lot of I have some clients who really love doing tapping for it. So there's a lot of there's so many somatic movement, like there's so many things you can do to regulate your nervous system. But for me, it's definitely the breath work, but I haven't found a way that it ties in with human design yet. It's not really been an area I've explored. I think it's so important to listen to our intuition when it comes to pricing. 100% agree. From there, we will always receive the right pricing, whether it's higher or really affordable. Yeah. There's times I just, this last week or two, I had an audio I took out of Infinity Matrix and sold on its own because it was so freaking powerful, called Income Upgrade. And I just, normally like a 30-minute audio like that, I would maybe price on the lower end, but I was like, the potency of it, like it just intuitively, I was like, this has to be like between $88 and $111. Like it's so high level, it's so powerful. And there's a part of me is like, why bother selling it? Like people aren't going to buy it at that price. A lot of people bought it at that price. Like I had it on sale for $88 for 2 weeks. It's now at $111. It's still a steal, but I just knew intuitively, I was like, this is so powerful. And there's also something about like, because it's about charging, higher rates, raising your rates in business. It's not for everyone, right? It's really about the people who are already at this level that are ready to like raise their rates, but they're not confident behind it yet. It's the mindset, the energy behind it. And that for me was like, I had to stretch a little bit and be like, you got to listen to your intuition. You got it. That's what you teach. You got to live it. You got to walk what you talk. And I'm so glad I did, because the people who bought it were the people who were going to get the most from it, because they could see the value at that price point. But if I had charged it lower, probably would not have reached the right people who were really ready for it and going to get the most from it. But I really enjoy pricing with my intuition. It's how I encourage most people to do it. Yeah. Thank you for answering the question. Yeah, you're so welcome. Yes. Research more and create what you don't find. Like that's honestly some of my best creations, like my Oracle deck, my Wealthy Woman Oracle deck. Even what I was doing with human design and business and money, like at the time I didn't see anyone else doing that. Now I see more people doing it. But it's like that. I did that because I wanted those resources and I couldn't find them. And also the book I'm writing now. I was telling my publisher, I was on a call with her the other day and we were talking. She was like, why do you want to write this book? And I was like, I was looking for a book like this and I couldn't find one. So now I'm writing it. Like it's like, it's the best way to do it. Brief follow-up, is that pricing approach the same for your more privileged or higher income individuals? I'm not quite sure if I understand the question fully. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I know. I think I don't know if I quite understand the question. So for me, I really feel like, if I'm understanding the question, if I'm interpreting it the way you intended it, I feel like my pricing, the way I price everything, it's like then anyone at any level can tap into wherever they can and still benefit, right? And that's what I would guide a lot of my other clients to do, except for there are clients I have that work exclusively in like luxury industries. And so they don't really do, you don't like give away luxury jewelry for really low prices. You know, it doesn't make sense with when they're using really high-end materials. Like I have a private client who one of her businesses is a jewelry business, like high-end luxury bespoke jewelry design, things like that. And it doesn't make sense to sell things for a really low cost in that business because you would be operating at a loss. You couldn't sustain that business, right? Because it's like because of the materials and the fees of the designers and the people who are creating the jewelry. So it doesn't really make sense to have that business model. But something we've talked about is being able to like create more, different ways that people can find it at different levels. But yeah, there's sometimes that doesn't work for different businesses. Sorry, so if you were selling to like six-figure earners, would you charge more? Yeah, so I do sell to six-figure earners. So that is like those people who are ready for that work at that level and want the proximity and the closeness with me. Those are the people who are buying my private coaching packages, which are multiple five figures, right? And that's who I'm marketing to. But also I have six-figure earners who come into the Wealth Vibe for $25 a month because they just want the daily mini money readings from me and they don't pay to work with me privately. So it just depends what they want from the offer. For me, I'm not like, how much is someone making and then I'll charge because I know they can pay more. No, that's not it. It's more like if you're a six-figure earner and you want to go from making six figures to multiple six figures, then I know that you're someone that you already have like the power and the alignment and you know what you're doing, and it's like we can move so much faster. And I also know that if like that my time is limited, and so I charge based on how much I know is like the value, how valuable that time is. And I can only have so many spots for private mentorship and private clients and still run the rest of my business and live my life. So I do charge more and typically but it's not, I think to answer your question is actually, I can't answer that question in that way because it's almost the incorrect question, right? If you get it, it's like, I don't price based on like, oh, these people are making X amount of money, so I can charge X amount, right? It's more like I charge X amount of money because I know that's what this is worth. And I know there are people who can pay that and who are aligned with that, but I'll market to people who see the value of this, but I'm not trying to convince anyone of it. And I'm not trying to strategize, ooh, I'll only sell to six-figure earners because they can afford it. Because some six-figure earners can't even afford certain rates because they can't manage their money. Whereas some six-figure earners have way more than six figures because they've been investing it or because they had money from their family. It's like, I don't make any assumptions about what money people have. I just create a lot of different ways to work with me and to price it appropriately for the value it carries for others, for my availability. And I give people different entry points to work with me based on where they are. But I don't make any assumptions about what anyone can or can't pay or price accordingly with what I think people can pay, which is a lot of what I went into that income upgrade audio. I talked about that a lot. Yeah, I love this approach. Is this within the membership or Infinity Matrix? The daily mini mind readings with me are in the Wealth Vibe membership. So if you guys want to jump on that, like that's just one of the many perks in there, but you can go tayloreaton.com/wealth the Wealth Vibe and get all the info. But Infinity Matrix is where I talk more about like those sorts of questions you're asking now, Annie. These are the kind of questions that people come and ask me inside of Infinity Matrix, and I give like minutes long audios on that just for them and coach them through those things. Sometimes I pay a lot for things that I can't obviously afford to make myself actually use them. Exactly. This is such a good point. Thank you. So this is all that. I'll wrap this up in a minute because now we're getting into a whole discussion about pricing, which is not the point of this this live streams. But I actually like there's something about when you are doing the kind of work like to be clear, I would never, if I'm like, hey, let me teach you how to get out of debt, which I don't do. But if I were going to teach someone that, or like, how do you manifest yourself out of debt? I wouldn't be like 10K to work with me. I don't think that's ethical, right? Like I don't personally, that's my take. You have your take on it. However, if I am working with someone who I'm like, you're already making like 10K a month and you're like, I want to go to 20K, I want to go to 50K. And it's like, okay, we're like, you need to be stretched in a way. Like you're going to have to stretch, you're going to have to expand your capacity. You're going to have to get out of your comfort zone. And sometimes the pricing is an initiation for that as well. And different people believe different things about this. And I think all the viewpoints on it are valid. My viewpoint is I don't charge higher rates just to get my clients to stretch. But when people are willing to bet on themselves that hard, they're going to show up for the mentorship, because I've also undercharged for my mentorship, had people invest and then not really do the work, not really show up, not really use the services, and then not get the results. And then it feels crappy for both of us. And I don't enjoy that kind of work. I want to work with people at that level who are like, I'm doing this, I'm powerful, I'm all in on myself, like I'm going for it. I don't want people necessarily getting themselves into financial positions that they can't sustain, because then it creates stress in our mentorship where they're stressed and then we can't work at their highest level. But it's like, I want people to not take what we're doing for granted. I want them to be intentional with it. And so exactly what we're saying here, like when you pay for things you can't afford, to make yourself actually use them. It's like, if there's an ROI on it and you believe in yourself and you believe that you can, no matter what, make this work for you, it's like I also invest that way sometimes in myself, right? So it's a stretch, it's an initiation, right? Yeah, it's truly such a beautiful and ethical approach. Yes. Okay. I love these questions. Thank you all so much for jumping on live. Thanks for coming to find me on my impromptu live stream. You can expect more of these from me, and I will just do them as I feel like it. So make sure you have notifications turned on if you want to be able to find me live, because I probably won't give any heads up. Also, definitely come follow me over on Instagram if you want to see me just more post, like just more conversational things. It's always on my Instagram stories. I don't post every day on there, but when I do post, it's more like behind the scenes, what I'm up to. More of also just like keeping up to date with things I'm posting, but definitely, talking about the events happening in the world, speaking up, amplifying voices. It's more of stuff that I do all over there. So yeah, you got the very end, Emily, but that's okay. It's good to see you. This replay will be here in just a second for you. But yeah, I'm so glad you guys are here. Like, thank you so much. Oh, and I'm so glad you loved today's reading, Janessa. I'm so glad. Good to see you here as well. Oh, it's so nice to connect with you all. Thank you all for being here. I'm sending you so much love, so much abundance, and I will see you all in another video, in another live stream very soon.